Awesome. Okay. Participants. Great. I'm going to put the link to the Desmos in one more time. I have 11 of us in there. I'm going to restrict our pacing to the do now. You are going to have 5 minutes to, this is basically the same Supreme Court chart that we've used in the past. It just obviously looks different since it's in Desmos. You're going to have 5 minutes to complete these questions utilizing your homework. If you did not do your homework, now is the time to get that done. You will get a late grade on the homework for not having it done before class, but you can still get it done. So you have 5 minutes to either finish up that homework or get started on your Supreme Court case chart. Please chat me if you have any questions. You have 5 minutes to do this. Thank you to everybody for your urgency. 5 minutes. Three more minutes to finish the do now. Awesome. Take one more minute to finish up that do now. Awesome work on the do now. I'm now going to be, I just opened up your Desmos to include the hook. So you should be on slide 3. Let me restrict you there. On this slide, you'll see a political cartoon referencing Citizens United, the decision made by the Supreme Court, and what happened after. Go ahead and take 2 minutes. Try to identify what is this artist's argument about the Citizens United versus FEC case. 2 minutes, and then we'll come back to discuss. One more minute to reflect on the cartoon. Awesome. And Nyasia, do you mind unmuting and sharing your reflection on the cartoon and how it connects to last night's homework?
I said the author argues that the case built a monster that allowed super PACs to take all the money from the people in the Citizens Union. And this connects to the homework because the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the BCRA. I don't know the acronyms in order, the BCRA. And that allowed like any amount of money that they desired to put towards any like political agenda, they can do it, which people like believe heavily, some people believe heavily in politics, so they'll put a lot of money into like movies and stuff like that.
Awesome. So I just expanded the Desmos to include just the next slide says, take the next 3 minutes to review your homework and your notes. I do know, however, that this is a very dense case that is really hard to like fully grapple with the long-term effects of it. So I ask that you take the next 3 minutes to review your homework. Just make sure you're fresh with the notes in case you did it last night or the night before. Make sure that you're refamiliarizing yourself with the case. And over the next 3 minutes, please send any questions you have on the homework and we'll discuss those as a group before we go into our actual main seminar question and answer and the one short document we have for today. So again, for the next 3 minutes, review your homework notes, send along any questions that you might have, and we'll go over those before we go into today's lesson. 3 minutes, go ahead and get started. Chat me if you need anything. Okay, that is time for reviewing your homework. I did not see any questions in the chat, so if you come up with them, feel free to let me know. Now that we are refreshed on our homework, I am going to edit our pacing, and you are going to have 7 minutes to read and 7 minutes to read and annotate the dissenting opinion on slide 5, which you guys, if you are in Desmos is open, you're going to read the dissenting opinion and then after answer the main question, should we overturn this Supreme Court decision? So again, you're going to read the dissenting opinion to go alongside your homework, answer that main seminar question, and then the rest of the class will be rooted in discourse on the documents. So you have 7 minutes to do this. As always, please chat me if you come up with any questions. Okay, 7 minutes on the clock. Let me know if you have any issues. Go ahead and get started. There's a place at the bottom of the dissenting opinion for you to put in an annotation. 4.5 minutes. You guys have 2 more minutes. You should try to finish your annotations on the dissenting opinion in the next 30 seconds so you can make sure you have a response on the next slide. Twenty more seconds. I do see that we're still working on sophisticating our response, so I'm going to give us 1 extra minute. Please make sure you also have evidence or justification for why you're choosing yes or no. So I'm going to give us 1 more minute to reflect on the question, and then we'll come back together to discuss. Awesome. Great job reflecting. We are going to start. As usual, we are going to start by hearing from a couple people that I'll call on, and then we'll jump into a jump in, not over. Again, remember, you don't need to raise your hand. You can just unmute as long as you're not talking over other people. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to, though, but you just don't have to. So first, I want to hear from the no side. Can I hear from Malachi and then Isis?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I said that we should not overturn Citizens United v. FEC because Congress has attempted to set limits on campaign fundraising in order to reduce corruption or anything that could be perceived as corruption. And corporations can often influence a lot of people with money or their power, as a huge corporation like Google, Facebook, Twitter. A lot of these corporations have a lot of followers that can often be inducted into following what they want, and in turn can become corrupt with their overuse of power. And the government wanted to stop this because they didn't want a corporation or business being more powerful than local government, let alone federal.
I agree. I'm a little confused, but I said I don't think we should because people have the right to spend their money on whatever they want. The government shouldn't have the power to control that, even if it is based on politics. And I said also, I don't think spending money to promote for your candidate is gonna cause corruption because people aren't forced to participate. And basically, it's like people can spend their money. Like if they want to give money to promote a candidate, then I feel like they should be able to do that because I feel like it boosts like elections and stuff like that and participation. But I'm not really understanding where the dissenting opinion is trying to go with what they're saying.
Awesome. We're going to have Janiqua jump in with her justification for no. Yes, Malachi did not evidence for yes. So, but it was still great evidence for the yes side. So we're going to hear from Janiqua, who's going to build on Isis's response for no. And then for the yes side after Janiqua, can I hear from Montana and then Lauren?
I basically said the same thing as Isis. I said that people have the right to do whatever they want with their money. And according to this whole court case, legally, they say that spending your money and allowing people to do what they do with their money is a form of speech, and that's protected. So they can't really stop you. And so, yeah.
I said, what did I say? I said yes, we should, because I said that it just shows, it just makes the government corrupt and able to be like, I feel like bribed, I guess, and it just shows the citizens that like the government will let anything slide for money. I feel like
I agree with Isis and Montana, right? Isis and Montana, right? I could have sworn. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so I said that it was at first I was on the somewhat side, but I kind of said that it should be overturned because despite the banning of limits, they say that will stop corruption. I said that it kind of goes against the democratic morale, just of being a just country, and then for elections, it kind of just gives them like a chance to basically. Oh, well, never mind. I don't agree with ISIS. But yeah, it basically gives them a chance to I would say they get to directly interfere with elections, if you get what I'm saying. Like they're able to fund a specific candidate, like say if a Republican Party, they can give thousands of dollars to a Republican campaign. And I feel like that's just an unjust sense. So it's basically just giving off the idea that the democratic system is basically unjust or really corrupt already.
Awesome job, everybody, for getting us started. We're now going to transition into jump in, not over. Nyasha, I saw your hand go up, so feel free to go ahead and get us started. And again, jump in, not over. Just please do not interrupt people, and you can chat me if you have any questions as we go through.
I agree with the yes side. I said, well, the Citizens United versus FEC was designed as a way to preserve independence and free speech. It should be overturned because it can lead to government corruption by having large corporations fund candidates that will pass or establish laws that benefit them, and corporations are not individuals but businesses. And an idea that led to this was because the NRA can fund millions of dollars towards presidential candidates and like congressional candidates, which, and if they win, they can pass laws and stuff like that that would loosen gun regulations and also lead to like the productions of more weapons, which can be dangerous, as the increase in gun violence has shown.
To add on to that, I just wanted to make a note that I feel like too many people think that their money can buy the candidate's win. Just because you give a candidate a lot of money doesn't guarantee their win. And I feel like people feel entitled to the win if they get a lot of money. So if they don't win, it'll just be disappointing. And if they do win, I feel like the donor might feel entitled to even more power, even more influence over the candidate, which can lead to corruption.
I agree. And to add on, I said that it should be overturned, and I had said that the corporations are not people. One of the reasons, the corporations justify is freedom of speech, but the Constitution is reserved for, citizens of the United States. Corporations are not individual people, it's, organizations. So they shouldn't be protected under the Constitution. And also money, basically they're saying their money is not speech. They're not necessarily saying anything. They're using money. So money shouldn't be protected by, the First Amendment.
To add on to what Madison said, businesses have multiple people inside them, and sometimes like you just get a job, just like, care for your family. So you might not necessarily agree with what the businesses are doing, but you're just doing it for a paycheck. And so if the businesses are funding like a organization, a president that you don't agree with, it's not your form of expression. You're just following what the business are doing. Adding on to that, it's not an individual.
I agree. And I like to add on, I don't know how much we touched, but I feel like, excuse me, Ms. Wild, that's annoying. That, I feel like in society, obviously, the ones with like, how I say, they're obviously the rich people, the high class are the ones donating the most money, and they're donating it to, whoever they want. So it's like unfair. It's like a unequal amount of money. And it's mostly the people that have the most money are the most likely going to win. And it's unfair to the other candidates that actually have like, good, how would I say, good morals, that are actually want to do, good things for the country.
Sorry for the playback of me not muting my computer. Awesome. I love this perspective that we have. I am going to prompt us with a new question. Going way back to when we studied the Supreme Court, I want to say in quarter 2, one of the things we talked about was judicial activism. And I have the definition of the judicial activism in the chat. As a reminder, judicial activism is the philosophy holding that courts can and should go beyond the applicable law to consider broad societal implications of its decisions. So again, what this means is the Supreme Court does not strictly read the Constitution, but has a more loose interpretation and adapts the Constitution for what is currently going on. Utilizing this definition, how is Citizens United versus the FEC an example of judicial activism? So again, How is this an example of judicial activism? Montana, go ahead and get us started, and then you can feel free to, everybody can feel free to jump in.
It's an example because like it's kind of like they overturned it. I mean, they ruled the way they ruled so it could like benefit them when they needed it to, in a way, like so they could bend the rule without like actually breaking.
Awesome. Isis, did you want to jump in?
Sure. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say that it connects because, like everybody was saying, it could cause. Well, they were saying that can cause corruption. So in that case, if they're not looking at it as a more what could happen in terms of politics and the things that go on with like the economy and political things, then basically, yeah, can get corrupted, and they're just looking at it from a constitutional standpoint, but they're not actually thinking of the the impact.
When we talk about the Supreme Court, we talk about how their decisions add meaning to amendments. So for example, we've spent so much time with the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause, and we've looked at how different Supreme Court cases influence the 14th Amendment. Or in Tinker versus Des Moines, we talk about the invention or the protection of symbolic speech, not just spoken speech. What does this court case do to the First Amendment? Go ahead and share in the chat. What does this court case change or add to the First Amendment? Everybody should be typing, sorry. Awesome. Again, we're typing in the chat. What does Citizens United versus the FEC do to the First Amendment? Awesome. Thank you, Lauren and Erica, for those perspectives. Thank you, Night Asia. Thank you, Isis. Thank you, Aaron, Kezia. Awesome. Thank you guys for jumping in with that quick question in the chat. As we know, the most important content that we know for the AP exam, especially when it comes to this required Supreme Court cases, is not just what happens, but what their decision does either to the Constitution or just American law itself. I am going to go ahead and pause discourse here because we do have a FRQ as the exit ticket. Oh my God, I know. At least it's not a SCOTUS comparison question, if that helps. It's not a SCOTUS question. So the exit ticket is now open. You just need to read a very short stimulus and then answer 3 questions. You have to read and answer a little stimulus passage, not package. And answer the 3 questions. You guys know what we're doing. Awesome. So go ahead and read that passage. Please let me know if you have any questions. And once I see submission of Google Classroom and completion of the exit ticket, you guys are free to go. It is going to be graded. Yesterday's and today's is being graded. Okay, I'm still unmuted. I'm sorry. I'm getting some pushback in this room. Once you guys do both of those things, you guys are free to go. I'm going to be checking to make sure you do both. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, I think that's it. Make sure you turn in your pre-work if you unsubmitted it so you could use it during today's class. So make sure you submit that if you did it online. Awesome. Chat me if you have any questions. And once you do these two things, you're good to go. You have about 7 more minutes to finish. Just as a reminder for part C, a linkage institution is something that connects you, a normal person, to the government. So one example, this is not the answer, this is not the answer, this is an example, is a political party. A political party connects you to the government. So if we look at super PACs as a linkage institution, they connect regular people with the government. Sorry, I misspoke. So like so linkage institutions connect individual people to the government. What's gonna happen to the connection between individual people and the government if you have super PACs involved? That's the question. I'm sorry if I just made it more complicated. One more time, just as a reminder for part C, it's asking what is the impact of super PACs on elected officials and how that influences the connection between individuals and the government. So a linkage institution, as an example, is like a political party. As a reminder, once you submit on Google Classroom, that's when you'll be able to go. I see some of us starting to finish up in part C. So a real world example of Part C would be like the relationship with the NRA and the Republican Party. The NRA is a super PAC, as we've discussed. So how does their influence with money impact Republican officials? So using that as a real world example as you try to answer that question for Part C. Yes, sorry guys, I'm unmuted. Okay, thank you, Malachi and Montana. I have your stuff in Google Classroom. You're good to go. As a reminder, once you submit on Google Classroom, after you complete Desmos, you are able to leave the Zoom. And please make sure you are also turning in that pre-work.
Okay, I could turn into my.
Sorry guys, my screen was not refreshing. Okay, I have work from Nyasia, Anthony, Janiqua, Aaron, Isis, Lauren. I have all of your stuff on Google Classroom. Thank you so much. Casey, I got yours. I'm not sure if you're done on Desmos. I know you turned it in early. Thank you, Janaya. You're good to go. Thank you, Zira. Thank you, Ariana. You guys are good to go. Have a great rest of your day.